So in this final session, I want to conclude by highlighting a couple of useful tips or things that you should have in mind, especially when writing your essay, but also when preparing or proofreading it before submission. The first thing is that clear thinking and clear writing go hand in hand. One of the things that my supervisor always used to say when it came to producing a chapter for my PhD thesis or trying to put together an article for publication was the following: if the reader or the reviewer is not getting your argument, then it's your fault. It means that you have not clearly presented your ideas in an appropriate fashion. It means that your ideas have not been presented as clearly as possible, hence the reader's confusion. One way in which you can avoid this is to write short sentences. I always used to have a 1 or 2 sentence or 2-line rule. If a sentence is more than, let's say, 1 or 2 lines, then you should break it down into smaller sentences. So try to avoid writing long, awkward and convoluted sentences, because this will hinder the clarity of what you're trying to say, and it will also annoy the reader. If you've got a sentence which is 5 or 6 lines long, the reader will probably have to read the sentence 3 or 4 times in order to get what you're saying. Just break it down, smaller sentences. Make your writing more accessible, clearer. It will help the reader, and it will also help you. Another important point is to make sure that your sentences are grammatically and structurally appropriate. Refrain from starting, unless where appropriate, with sentences that begin with an ing, because you'll be missing a subject. And as a general rule, short sentences and clear grammatical structure. Grammar, of course, and spelling are also quite important, and as my supervisor again used to say, grammar and spelling are the difference between knowing your shit and knowing you are shit. So make sure that you spend some time, or you leave some time at the end of the essay, once you've written the essay, to proofread it and to make sure that any typos that might hinder the quality or the clarity of your essay are identified and revised. When you finish the essay, you need to take a break, but you're not done yet. You need to return to the essay again, because there are several things which would need to be done. The first of these is to check your essay against your plan. Have you included what you've intended to include? Are there any omissions from the original plan? And is it okay to leave some of those things out? If I need to add stuff, where should these things go? If I'm missing some stuff in light of what I propose to do in my plan, are these things which are missing catastrophic for the argument? Are they necessary? If I have other things, do these things belong in the essay? Or could they perhaps be pruned down in order to leave more space for the task of developing some of the other points which might be more important? If I have added some stuff, are these things integral to the argument? Or do they go or touch on a different topic which, though interesting, is not as relevant to your argument as it could be? And in that case, you might well be considering leaving those things out. Also check your signposting. Have you guided the reader sufficiently? Have you told them what you're trying to do? Have you mentioned in the introduction the way in which you'll be arguing and answering the question? Does your introduction mention the way in which the essay will be structured? Is the structure of the essay true to what the introduction promises? This is also quite important. You should refrain from promising to do one thing in the introduction and actually doing another in the main body. Your main body should be a reflection of the introduction. It should directly follow from it. So too should the structure of the essay. And I also have a look at the assessment criteria. Does your essay meet those criteria? And finally, check your SASE for spelling mistakes, or check your essay for spelling mistakes which might hinder the clarity of what you're saying. And if you've done all this, if you've proofread your essay, if you've checked your essay against the criteria, if you've reread the essay and there is a clear line of argument set out in the introduction, developed in the main body, and summarized and rehearsed in the conclusion, then you're ready to submit. You've produced an excellent essay, which is now ready to be handed in. And now you can take a step back, relax, and celebrate by drinking a glass of whiskey.